Welcome to episode 20 of Fountaincast, a bi-weekly podcast brought to you by the Fountain Hills Chamber of Commerce, striving to be your one-stop fountain of information regarding the local business community here in Fountain Hills. I'm your host, Paige Lawrenson. Hello there, Fountain Hills. We have a brand new episode of Fountaincast, an original podcast series brought to you by the Fountain Hills Chamber of Commerce. As always, thank you so much for taking a listen to our show, whether you have become a regular listener of every episode, or if this is your first time checking us out, thank you so much. Just a reminder for everyone, we have a new episode drop every other Friday, and we feature local business stories about the members of the Fountain Hills Chamber of Commerce, as well as local community members. For today's episode, I sat down with both Mayor Jenny Dickey and Betsy Lavoie, who is the president and CEO of the Fountain Hills Chamber, and we discussed the COVID-19 situation that we are currently in. Keep listening if you want to learn about what the town is doing to keep Fountain Hills safe, as well as resources for the local business community and more. Let's jump right in. All right, well, I am joined on today's episode of Fountaincast by the town of Fountain Hills Mayor, Mayor Jenny Dickey. Thank you so much for being here on today's episode of Fountaincast.
Thank you for having me here. Pleasure.
All right, so today we want to dedicate this episode to the topic that everyone seems to be talking about, no matter if you turn on the TV or you go on Facebook or you talk to your neighbor, and that is COVID-19, or what some people are calling the coronavirus. So to start off, how is this affecting our community here in Fountain Hills?
Well, first of all, we are a community, that's number one, and we're united and we're going through this all together. We're all in the same boat, and I know that everybody feels that way in this community because we've been this way for so many years, 50 years. We, of course, have taken some action in town starting probably around the 11th or 12th of March, which was the first statement of canceling the Irish Fest. So that was the first thing that we really did. That kind of started the ball rolling. Since then, I know that we've had probably 6 or 7 statements out every day since then, totally telling you that we had canceled all of our public events, our meetings, our club meetings and activities at the community center. In fact, now the community center will be closed to the public. We will have staff there, but it's going to be closed starting actually yesterday. That happened. All the town board and commission meetings are going to be postponed. There may be, if there are any that have business that we have to do, like for the hospital, maybe P&Z might meet on recording, but we'll see how that goes right now. Town council ourselves, we had our last council meeting that was open to the public. Well, it would have been, but then at the last minute we kind of changed our mind about that. We don't want to have any event that somebody feels like they need to be there. We don't want to draw a crowd or make anybody feel like they've missed anything. So, and as always, every council meeting is live streamed on Channel 11 and on the computer. And I know that we like to have a lot of public input at our meetings, but they're not a requirement, which is an interesting thing. But what's required is that they take place in front of the public. So we do that through the website, and we took several items off the agenda that we thought people would be really interested in, our pedestrian safety and other things that we thought people would want to be there for. So we did postpone those items. Employees, kind of internally, we're going to be implementing telework program. Today's the last day that the town hall will be open to the public, but we will have skeleton crew and other people there. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to be continuing with our services and our essential services and everything else. We'll be answering the phone, we have our computers, everybody's ready to do that, but we just want to make sure that we minimize the exposure not only to the public but for our own employees. So that's sort of what we're doing right now. The most recent step that we took was to do this declaration of emergency. And I just want to say a little bit about that because it's being it means something different in every community. So not every community that doesn't mean that you're closing businesses or you're closing restaurants.
Because that was actually my next question.
Okay, go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, I just heard that there has been a state of emergency declared here in Fountain Hills. So what does that mean for our community? What does that really spell it out for everyone? Because I'm sure a lot of people hear emergency and thinks everything's closing. It's going to be a ghost town, stock up.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily the case.
No, it isn't. Actually, as of this morning, I think there's 32 of the 91 cities and towns that have done that, and everybody does it for a variety of reasons. Sometimes, let's just say you want to close a building, or you want to, and maybe some of these cities have charters that don't allow them to just do that or to make the changes that we've made in our meetings. So a state of emergency allows you to go forward with that kind of thing. I'll just say what this kind of places it in the right way, says it in the right way. Emergency, it urges the public to take precautions and adhere to the recommendations from the CDC and the Arizona Department of Health and all the professionals about the virus, outlines the steps that we've taken. So it kind of codified that, some of the stuff that I just said that we've done. And it also allows us to postpone meetings and do some of the things that we've done already. And then, of course, if something come up that we need to do in the future in consultation with the mayor and the staff and the council and everyone, that if we had to take some steps that we would be able to do that. The other thing that is a little bit up in the air is the ability to apply for funding. So if you are in a state of emergency, federal government now, state of government, even county have some resources available that maybe it may make those a little bit easier accessible.
Okay, yeah, thank you for clarifying that, because I know when I hear state of emergency, I think of earthquakes or hurricanes down south, and it just seems so scary. But it's good to hear that it just means that we can be protected if it comes down to it, and that you guys are on top of it. So thank you very much for clarifying that.
Great way to
and would
put
you
it.
say that the effect of COVID-19 in our community is roughly the same compared to other communities here in the Valley, or are we differing? I think you said something like 30 out of 80 cities were on emergency, or
well, there's 32 out of 91, but yeah, and obviously this is a huge state with so many different demographics. But in Fountain Hills we have a large senior population, and so while we haven't taken the step to close dine-in and bars and gyms and places like that, I have to just tell you, I'm getting a lot of requests to do that. People are very concerned about their spouses and other people that have underlying conditions, in which case age is an underlying condition for some of us. So I wanted to just make sure that I really can't stress enough what the CDC and the Department of Health are strongly recommending, and that's that they discourage dine-in and instead provide pickup or drive-through services. Some are delivery. A couple of my sons live in different cities in the country, and they call in, like Chipotle. You call in, stand out there, and they come and bring it to you. So there are ways of adapting to this. Other businesses are asked to apply some of these standards, not only for the public but for their employees. I got a message from somebody recently who's a worker and bar, and we've been in places like that. The money, the glasses, it's pretty impossible.
Yeah,
so
of course.
I think we haven't taken that step. We're talking about how can we maybe even have the chamber help us to contact some of these businesses to let them know what this strong recommendation is. You talk about Fountain Hills also. Please buy what you need.
Yes.
We see the people at 5 a.m. outside of Safeway. It's hard to fight wanting to do that, but please get what you need. There are a lot of vulnerable people here. The idea of panicking, we can kind of self-perpetuate that. We don't want to do that. There is no indication that there's a shortage of food or anything like that. The trucks are delivering. So to please try and get a handle of that. There's people that need baby formula and those kind of things. So keep that in mind. But yeah, we are monitoring it. You know how it's changing almost hourly. So
of course, and you kind of just touched on this a bit, but for those residents here in town that are feeling a little nervous or scared about this, you know, maybe watching the news and seeing things across the globe, what would you like to tell them?
Well, again, we're a community. We have, I think in my statement the other day in the paper, we're a community of a lot of communities. So we've got churches, and we've got all of our organizations. You've got the town. We've also had the state very much, you know, just involved every day on this, and the counties. I know that there's going to be that level. We've all got family and all over either, you know, the valley or the country, and we're concerned, but there's a lot to be said for what we can control. And it looks like we can control the spread, you know, what they say, hashtag flatten the curve. Let's do that. We're seeing examples in other countries where things are working. And you can also be assured that, you know, a lot of people are recovering from this. We are all in this together, and I want people to feel comfortable like that, and to know that they can contact each other and us, and of course the state and the county.
Of course. Well, thank you for kind of giving that message of hope for people who are a little nervous about everything.
Sure.
So another question that we've heard just going around is, especially for people who might be watching that have kids, is there any update from the schools, or what is the current closure for the schools looking like?
You know, I don't know the date, because I think originally they said till the end of the month. I know I hear some of the others are going to be maybe going to the, you know, just not even coming back for this year. I think that they've got their act together when it comes to the teaching part. They've already setting up online, what to do if you're bored. Here's your next lesson. The shame of it, obviously, are the ones that were going to be graduating or having proms and things that they're not going to be able to do at this time. But I have a funny feeling that people are going to come up with ways to celebrate.
A virtual prom or something.
Yeah, or later in the summer they'll be like, hey, we didn't get to do this, so let's do this now. But you know, we're full of ingenuity when it comes to how can we play, you know.
And I'm sure once there are more updates from the school system that everyone will hear about them. So a strong email alert system or emails from the school district, I'm sure would be available.
They're on social media, and they have a website and the phones, because the same thing, you know, they're working even if we're not, even if the public's not there.
Of course. So before we start to wrap up, I do kind of want to end this on a more positive note. How has our community come together during this crazy time?
Well, it's really good to say crazy time. That's what it is.
Yes, definitely a little crazy, but, you know, how is everyone kind of making this more positive? Seeing a lot of neighborly attitudes going out there, which I think is really great.
Definitely. And, you know, we've got, you know, again, we're in this together. We've said it before, I said it again. We're learning new stuff every day, so we're getting more control over it. We're figuring out, you know, every day we're finding out that there may be, you know, a way to treat it or a way to make it so that it's less serious. You know, we'll have our festivals eventually. We're going to have our celebrations of the 50th, celebration of the fountain, and just to keep talking to each other. You know, social media can be such a pain, but right now it's actually a comfort. We're able to, you know, FaceTime and do all of those things with our kids and our family and friends. You know, we have all these clubs that haven't been able to meet, and we all miss each other. We want to hug each other. We can do this, keep in touch, keep an eye on people that you're, you know, concerned about. But a lot of people want to volunteer. They want to figure out ways to, you know, help their neighbors. I've had a nurse call me and say, is there a way we can set up neighborhoods when we've got so many professionals here who could maybe do that, take a look at them. And lastly, what I've noticed is sense of humor. Some of the memes and some of the things that are cracking me up, you know, like pictures of Jack Nicholson in the car on his way to The Shining and saying, 2 weeks at home alone with the kids, what could go wrong, you know? And so I think that, again, we all have our different ways. You're probably going to have ups and downs, you know, throughout. You'll feel days that that you'll need a little more support, and other days where you're giving that support, and that's just the way we are as a family and a community.
All right, well, thank you, Mayor Dickey, for kind of shedding some light on this whole situation going on. And I'm sure there is a place where people can get updated information on the web. Is there a specific website? If so, would you mind just telling everyone at home where they can get more information?
Well, and the town website is just fh.az.gov. We have a COVID page up. We have all of our recent press releases. It'll get you to CDC, Arizona Department of Health, Maricopa Health, and anything else that you want. And if not, please just email us. Everything like that is working. Town manager and me and anybody else, our volunteer coordinator and others. If you have ideas or ways that you want to help.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for being here today and joining me on Fountain Cast. It's always appreciated.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are excited to have Betsy Lavoie, who is the CEO and President of the Fountain Hills Chamber of Commerce, join me today on Fountain Cast. Betsy, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Paige, and happy one-year anniversary of podcasts.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So we had talked about having you on today's episode because you have been so busy the last few days talking to many different organizations, government entities, legislators about COVID-19 and local business. Can you just tell us more about what you've been up to?
Yes, it's actually very impressive the amount of support that we have received as a community from the state and honestly from the United States Chamber of Commerce has been very proactive. We've had conference calls with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce with a plethora of resources for our businesses, which I know we're going to talk about in just a moment. We have a daily call with Governor Ducey's office just for chambers, which is again really impressive and full of information. So we'll be able to bring up-to-date information to our business community, as well as the EVCCA. The EVCCA is the East Valley Chamber of Commerce Alliance and makes up, I believe, 8 other chambers here in the Valley, and they've been a wonderful resource as well. And so yes, we've had many conference calls over the last few days, but it's welcomed and impressive, quite frankly.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, when I first started working for a chamber, I didn't know that there was really bigger chamber organizations. I thought it was maybe just cities or towns, but there's Fountain Hills Chamber, and then there's even bigger cities, Phoenix, the state, and then the whole United States Chamber. Right. It's crazy how it really does trickle all the way from our community, and that they're willing to help us here out in Fountain Hills and other communities. So I just love hearing that.
Yes, me too.
All right, so we talked about having you on because there's just kind of craziness going on with what people are hearing about this virus and local business. And one of the organizations that has been sharing a lot of information has been that United States Chamber of Commerce. And what are you hearing that they're suggesting small businesses do in a time like this?
Great question. First of all, we learned that 65% of small businesses have no plans in place for preparedness for natural disaster. So one thing that I think businesses can do right away is they can go to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce website. There's a preparedness checklist. I would start there as a business, go through each and every item, and it's just a support checklist to find out what they can be doing right now for their business. So that's one thing. That's one resource.
And before I don't want to interrupt, but we did also share those on our Facebook page for our members and just other community members who want to, who maybe aren't members of the chamber but want to see those resources. And they were in our newsletter, and I believe they're on our website. So if you can't find them anywhere else, they are posted.
Perfect. That's perfect. And they also have resources for both employees and employers. And a lot of people might not realize that employees have a place to go to through the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. And thank you for putting that out in every platform we possibly can through our chamber. And with that, employees and employers resources, there's one thing that employers might want to do right away. There's a customizable worksheet that they can utilize for their companies, whether their company is super small or rather large. 74% see their employers as the most trusted source of information. So as an employer, let them be the most trusted source of information and utilize this worksheet. It could be an important tool for those businesses. So I definitely recommend they do that.
All right, so COVID-19, or what some people know as coronavirus, is creating a very scary situation for those who own or maybe just work for a small business, as people aren't kind of going about their lives normally as they regularly do, going out shopping, maybe visiting restaurants, staying more at home. Are there any grants or loans that you've learned about that could assist a business to stay afloat right now? I know that we were kind of talking before this, and I was on a call with my mom who owns a small business on my way over here, and she was so overwhelmed. She was like, I don't know where to get information. I've heard about an emergency loan, I've heard about an SBA loan or grants, and she just doesn't know where to get the information and is just overwhelmed. So I'm sure if she's feeling like that, other businesses in town are as well. So could you elaborate on that a bit?
Absolutely. There is a ton of information and it is hard to digest it all. Thankfully, we will have a one-page fact sheet that we will have out by Monday that we can provide to our employee or to our businesses and our entire community. But I do know of 2 large grants in place. Amazon and Facebook have both created grants for small businesses affected. Applications will be accepted in the coming weeks. So I know that's one for a grant that you can just go to literally type in Facebook grant COVID-19 and it immediately pops up.
Okay, great.
Also, the Small Business Association has a disaster relief fund and they have a specific loan program that they will be launching as soon as Arizona is approved. That will hopefully be by the end of today for that loan. That was updated information as of this morning. That disaster loan program has a low interest rate of 3.75% for businesses and 2.75% for nonprofits. One of the most desirable parts of this loan is that it has deferred payments for 1 full year and it has term lengths of up to 30 years.
Wow.
So if any local business is having a struggle with their capital funds right now, as soon as that application is available, we would encourage them to apply for it. It could truly be the answer to help them stay afloat over the time frame, since we don't know what that time frame is. And we definitely encourage people to apply online. So that being said, you can go to SBA, so that stands for Small Business Association, sba.gov/disaster, and you can download the paper application. You do not want to apply on by paper. You want to apply online, but if you download the paper application, you could be completely prepared for when they open up those applications to apply online. You can have everything ready. One thing that we wanted to make sure as a chamber that businesses locally here knew is that the Small Business Association does not use the same guidelines for credit worthiness. So even if you think you would not be approved by a financial institution, please still apply. Hopefully you will be approved through the SBA.
Great. Well, thank you for giving us more information about that.
You're welcome.
That people are just maybe a little overwhelmed thinking about this stuff, but it's good to hear that there is a fact sheet coming where they can get everything laid out in black and white right in front of them, one page. I feel like that will be really helpful, as well as hearing about these grants and loan programs. It's, everything should be okay one day.
Yes. Hopefully sooner than later.
Exactly. So we obviously work together, and we kind of lucked out in this whole situation with working from home because our office is under construction, so we were going to be working from home anyway, or working remotely, or finding another place to work. But for businesses in town who maybe weren't already planning to work from home or anything like that, what precautions do you think that they should take to protect their employees or their customers? Or should they be getting a little more creative with how they're doing business or work from home? What are your thoughts?
We definitely want to make sure that we refer the right resources for that, and that would be to go to the Arizona Department of Health and the CDC for their guidelines that they recommend for employers. That being said, we can use our experience. We have most of our staff that was able to work remotely from home, and one staff person that wasn't able to work from home, but we were able to find another location with a local business. So we were able to twofold fill our need and support a local business at the same way. So it was a win-win for everyone. If a business is not able to do that, they are welcome to reach out to the Chamber of Commerce. We will help brainstorm different ways that we can support them in having their employees telecommute or work from home, work remotely from home. A lot of phone systems work directly through the internet and not phone lines. And so we were lucky enough that we could just take our work phone systems and bring them to our new location and a lot of other businesses here locally could do that too and might not even know they can do that. So just know the Chamber of Commerce, the Fountain Hills Chamber of Commerce specifically, is here for our business community, whether they are a member or not. If they need support, if they need guidance, we are working our same hours, 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. We're available by phone at 480-837-1654. We're available over email, and we're available by appointment during this time.
So you did talk about how if someone maybe needed a resource to work, remotely, how we we're working with the local businesses. What else are we doing to help our community here in town, specifically local business?
Yes, I'm so glad that you asked that question. So on Tuesday, we sent out a large update email to our business community, and we followed it up on Wednesday with a survey from the EVCCA. The survey is specifically about how this is affecting our local economy. And so we encourage everyone, if you receive that survey in your email, please fill it out. It will help us to fast track legislation so that we can get funds and everything that we need to support our local economy. So that's one thing. Please fill out that survey so that we know how to support you. This is uncharted territory for all of us, so we're not quite sure how we can support everyone, but we want everyone to know that we are there as a source of support. We also want to encourage all of our residents to purchase gift cards right now. If you belong to a gym, or even, it doesn't have to be a restaurant or bar, any local business, you can purchase a gift card. An HVAC company, you could purchase Christmas gifts or holiday gifts right now. Support your local companies and provide those gift cards later. When the business community reopens, we encourage you to use those gift cards right away, unless it's a holiday gift, because we want to encourage those businesses right away, give them an uplift immediately if we can. And so we definitely encourage that. If you're using any large online platform to purchase goods, like Amazon, for example, please consider purchasing locally instead. Even if a business right now is not set up for gift cards, most are making other arrangements so they can support that and be able to move forward with some sort of online purchase, or just call in and purchase that way. It definitely boosts the economy for our local businesses. Plus, you, our very own page, created an event on Facebook through our chamber website, through our chamber Facebook page. I love it. I think it's fantastic. It started yesterday. It goes through the last day of April. We created it as an event on purpose so that it'll show up in people's daily news feeds, and it's to support local eateries, bakeries, bars, restaurants with takeout menus, updated information, updated delivery information, and drive-through information. And so we encourage restaurants who are local, bars, bakeries, etc., who are local, to co-host along with the Chamber of Commerce on that event page so that we can really disseminate that information to our entire community. So that's one thing we're doing. We are also really encouraging people to write reviews right now.
I was just about to say
Were
that.
you? Okay,
yeah, because
good.
I mean, I'm thinking about, people who may, well, I can't just go out and, let's say, spend hundreds of dollars on gift cards, my money's tight. How can I be of assistance to businesses, in this trying time? And I had seen, on Facebook, like, if you can't spend the money, share your views, opinions, really hype up the businesses that need it for when people are looking to spend their money. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's Google, Yelp, Facebook, any possible way you can send positive messaging right now for those businesses. If you have a negative review, please just take it up with the business directly, and they don't need any hindrance right now.
Yeah.
Please do not post any negative reviews. If you have a positive review, post away.
Yeah, I just love seeing the creativity that people are coming up with, ways to help them, help their community, help the businesses. I mean,
Right.
I've even seen, one of my favorite is Veronique, one of our members of Consensio. She's having a Facebook Live meditation session on Monday, I believe, at noon, I think.
She's going to do it daily.
Oh, daily.
She's going to do a
Perfect.
daily
I know.
meditation just for the stress for coronavirus.
I
think
was like,
it's
that's
fantastic.
so creative. Yeah, you might not, have your normal business hours or location or whatever, but you're still using your services in a way to help the community. I just thought it was really creative and I just love to see it. So.
Yes, me too. Did you see that Guardian Training is doing online classes versus they always do in-person classes? And so people are getting creative thinking outside the box. And as a chamber business or even a non-chamber business local, if you need help in brainstorming, that's also, we can be a resource for you in how you can think outside the box for your business.
So I guess I didn't know that about Guardian, and so that means that we probably don't know about other businesses who in town are doing things a little differently. So if you are a local business, I would say even not chamber members, and you want help telling about what you're doing, please let us know. You can always Facebook us or email us, paige@fountainhillschamber.com, betsy@fountainhillschamber.com, and we'll help kind of get the word out there about that. So yeah, it's just good to hear all of this, even though things seem kind of dark and gloomy right now with whatever's going on. But moving on, as the leader of our chamber, do you have a message for local Fountain Hills residents that are maybe a little nervous about the situation?
Yes, just know, as Mayor Dickey said, that we are a community. It's actually strengthening the business community within Fountain Hills, believe it or not. People are coming together to support each other, to just be there for guidance and support. Your chamber does more for you than you might think it does. So I think that in the positive messaging that we can put out is just know that we are a resource, not only for our members. We are community minded and member driven, and we are a resource for our entire business community. And even though our marketing has always been for our chamber members, we want to encourage people through Facebook, even if you're not a member but you're a part of our business community, to let us help you spread the word so that we can support you during this time.
All right. Well, thank you, Betsy, so much for joining me today on Fountain Cast. And this video will also, or podcast will also be on our YouTube, Facebook. If you want to share it, that'd be wonderful. But like I said, thank you so much for being here. It was really great chatting.
Thank you.
That is going to wrap up episode 20 of Fountain Cast. Thank you very much to both Mayor Ginny Dickey and Betsy Lavoie for bringing us up-to-date information about COVID-19 here in town, as well as the continued efforts to support our community during this time. This podcast was also filmed, so if you would like to take a look and share it on your social media, please make sure to head to the Fountain Hills Chamber of Commerce Facebook page or YouTube channel. It will be available, and we would love for you guys to share it and get the information out to those who are looking for it. As I mentioned earlier, new episodes of Fountain Cast are available every other Friday, so make sure to tune back into our show in a few weeks. If you like listening to Fountain Cast, make sure to tell everyone in town that you know about us and to subscribe, rate, and review our show wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you once again for listening. I'm your host, Paige Lawrenson. Stay healthy, and until next time.